What's up, everyone? Welcome to Stoneface Expeditions. I'm your host, Luke. Today we're going to be talking backpacking. If you've been considering taking a backpacking trip or a camping trip and you just don't know where to get started, well, stay right here for some tips and tricks coming your way. First things first, what is backpacking? Well, essentially it's taking a bunch of camping gear, shoving it in a backpack, and heading out to the woods. But where do we get started? There's plenty of ways to camp. You got RV camping, tent camping, campgrounds. You've got backcountry camping, same thing as backpacking pretty much. But where do we get started with all this? If you're looking into specifically backpacking, well, the best place to get started is deciding what kind of trail you're going to be hiking. But where do we get started? Well, there's plenty of ways to go camping. There's RV camping, tent camping, campgrounds, backpacking, backcountry trails. There's just so many options out there, but in my opinion, there's just nothing as awesome as backcountry camping or backpacking. Backpacking is pretty rugged. It's essentially your essential gear inside of a backpack. You take as little as possible in reality. So you're sacrificing comfort for the pros of being out in the backcountry. Now, in my opinion, the pros far outweigh the cons when it comes to having less gear with you. When you're out in the backcountry, out in the woods, backpacking, you're not near other people, you're not near campsites, you're not near RV camping, you're just out in the woods, just you and nature. It's just awesome. There's so many moments of just pure bliss. It is just fantastic being out there. In my opinion, when you're out backcountry camping or backpacking, you get to see some of the most amazing scenes in nature that you're just not going to find anywhere else. Now, there's plenty of great day hike trails that have amazing views, but there's just something about the untouched beauty of the land that you can find when you're out in these amazing backcountry sites. One of the most beautiful things I can remember while backpacking is it was the first time I ever went. It was me and my wife and my brother-in-law, and we were in the Shawnee National Forest here in Illinois. Now, it was pretty secluded. We were up on a ridge. It was late at night. It was totally clear night. It was awesome. We got out of a tent about 11 o'clock, and we were looking up at the stars, and you could just see the Milky Way. It's so hard to explain unless you see it in person. It's just one of those things that you're going to find out there backpacking that you're not going to find at a campsite. There's too much ambient light around, and you're just not going to find it. Being able to actually see the Milky Way up in the sky at night, it's just awesome. It's fantastic. It's one of those few moments that you experience when you're out there backcountry camping and you're just not going to find anywhere else, and it's what makes it all worth it, in my opinion. But now let's get into the preparation of actually taking a backpacking trip. Now, this video is going to be mainly focused on just an overnighter backpacking trip. I think, in my opinion, that's the best place to start. Just jumping into a through hike probably isn't the best place to start. Taking a one-night trip to find out how you really like it and the gear that you have and learning backpacking, I think, is just the best place to start. So the main thing you need for preparation is gear. Obviously, you're not going to be able to do this without a backpack and a tent, right? Now, if you're just looking for a basic checklist of all the things you need, I'll put one up on the screen. REI has an awesome checklist. It just lays out everything you need, and it's that simple. I could go through and read off everything for you, but what's the point? You're probably just going to look at this list anyways. There's so many videos out there on YouTube right now about budget gear, entry-level gear, what you need for backpacking or through hiking, best stove, best this, whatever. So I'm not going to get into all that because there's just too many of those already. I mainly use budget gear because I am married, I have kids, and it's cost effective, and I don't want to break the bank just for a weekend hobby. It takes a little bit of research here on YouTube or even just Google to find out, what is the best budget gear, or even if you just want to go all out, what that is for what you can find on this checklist. One of the things I do suggest, though, if this is your first backpacking trip, that you don't do it in the wintertime. Dealing with cold nights is a whole new ball game. I say like early summer, late summer is the best time to go. You got nights between 60 and 70 and the humidity is lower. It's just the best place to start. Okay, so now we got our gear figured out. What's our next step? Well, food. Can't go without food. Food's pretty important, and I rather enjoy food. So what's the best kind of food that we can take backpacking? Well, freeze-dried food is probably one of the main things that people use for backpacking food. They're lightweight, they're easy to use, they taste pretty good, especially when you're out on the trail, you've been hiking all day, you get to camp, and you're like starving. On my first backpacking trip, the only thing we could think about when we were at camp was soda and chili dogs for whatever reason. Couldn't get out of our heads, even though we had some good freeze-dried meals. Mountain House is a great place to start right there. Mountain House it's pretty good stuff. It's pretty cheap. It's a good place to start, but there's plenty of other options out there. You don't have to take freeze-dried food. You can take anything that's, food ready out of a package. You got granola bars, you got even Spam. You can take Pop-Tarts, whatever you can find that just you can take out of a package and eat it and it's not going to go bad. Another really important thing is water. Now, the first time I went backpacking, I didn't take a filtration system, and I took like 3 liters of water, and I was like, I'll be good. It's just a night trip, 1 liter today, 2 for tomorrow, whatever. I drank all my water before I even got to camp that day, and I was dying of thirst. So make sure you have a filtration system with you. Sawyer Squeeze is great, comes with everything you need, it's ready to go. Now that we have our basic gear and our food and water figured out, what else do we need? Well, clothes are pretty important here. Now, the main rule of clothes is no cotton. Cotton holds water and does not dry, especially when you're still wearing it. Now, anything that's nylon, polyester, spandex, that is great stuff because it's moisture wicking, as in like you can get sweaty, but it pulls the moisture from your body and it evaporates even while you're wearing it. You dry out quicker, you're more comfortable. It's just the best way to go. Follow that one rule and you'll be good on clothes. Now it's time to pick a spot to go backpacking. And you think, well, I don't know where to go. Well, one of the great tools that we have now is the internet. It makes it really easy, especially on your phone. Download the AllTrails app. AllTrails is great. All you do is you put in your filters, you go for backpacking, camping, and hiking, and it pops up all the trails near you that allow overnight campsites. Now, getting used to backpacking is really hard because you're carrying between 20 and 30 pounds, sometimes even more, on your back. And it doesn't matter how good of a backpack you buy, if you're not used to it, it's just hard. It makes hiking hard, it's uncomfortable, you have to take a lot of breaks, and it's just something you got to get used to. So I suggest that we start with a short trail for your first time out. I think anywhere between a 5-mile to 10-mile trail is great for your first night, and you want to make sure that you want to look at the terrain. If there's water, you want to know if you have spots that you can refill your water with a filtration system. You want to know, well, what's my elevation gain? It can be a 5-mile trail, but it can have a couple thousand elevation gain, which means it is rugged and tough. Now, the simple thing is on the AllTrails app or whatever you use, it almost always has your distance, if it's a loop trail or a point-to-point trail, what your elevation gains are, where your water spots are. All that stuff can be laid out for you really easy. I recommend starting with a loop trail. I prefer loop trails because you only have to have one vehicle. You park, you walk the circle, you're back at your car the next day, good to go. Point-to-point trail is a little more complicated. You generally have to have 2 cars, for one at your start and one at your end. And another thing is you're probably going to want to stay as close to home as possible for your first trail. You don't want to drive a couple states over just to be able to get the mountain view. Now, you're still learning, so this is important that you stay close to home because a big thing with backpacking is sleep is not very comfortable. Now, it's just hard to get used to sleeping. It's, sleeping pads just aren't very big or thick. Sleeping in a tent with, if you're used to like a fan and such things like that, it's just a totally different ball game when you're out there in the backcountry sleeping in a tent. One of the big reasons is to stay close to home is if there's an emergency, you could twist your ankle or just anything could happen while you're out there. And if you're inexperienced, it's best to stay close to home. That way you can head on it, bug out if you need to. So now that we're prepared for our trip, how do we execute this? Okay, so you've got all your gear, you've shoved it in your backpack, you're ready to go, you've got your trip planned, you know where you're going, you know when you're going, you've left some itinerary with a family member just in case, and you're ready to get out on the trail. And that's pretty much it. All you can really do at this point is just get out there and enjoy the hike, enjoy the nature, enjoy your surroundings, enjoy the backpacking trip. It's just important. You just got to get out there and do it. It's a learning thing. It's a skill. It's something that you have to do yourself. You can watch all the YouTube videos you want, but until you get out there and do it, you'll never really know what works for you and what you enjoy. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope this video was informative and helpful. I hope you enjoyed the content. We have much more to come. This is our first video. I am just kind of doing a practice vlog here, something quick and easy I came up with. I got a new camera, new YouTube channel, so I'm still trying to learn all this. In all of our future videos, you're probably going to be seeing my good friend Kevin. We're going to be doing vlogs, gear reviews. We're going to be doing actual backpacking trips, probably mostly weekend trips. We're going to be recording what's going on and sharing that with you guys. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and hit that notification bell for any future content coming your way.